Baby, nowadays press-ons look entirely too good to only last a few days. I'm going to show you two methods using acrylic to get your press-ons to last like a full set. Let's go ahead and start with everything that you will need. The first two are just suggestions. This is a UV light that I am going to use, also a UV no white top coat. I'm using these nails from Kiss. I love these, although I do find them to be a little thin. They're beautiful. This brush on nail glue, I prefer this for control versus the usual liquid that comes with the nails. The Kiss acrylic powder, yes, sponsored by Kiss. Just kidding, but we could speak it into existence. And this Kiss acrylic liquid, along with this nail file, and this is a 100/180 grit. I didn't know they were washable until now. Some acetone or some primer or dehydrator, and these cuticle nippers, I find these to be the best ones to use because with the scissors they're kind of hard once you use your non-dominant hand. And a Let's begin with the easiest technique because I am going to be using my non-dominant hand to put these on my dominant hand. So first thing I'm going to do is clean up around my cuticle. You do not want to skip this step ever because even if you're not using acrylic, if you're just using glue, removing this extra skin that is pretty much dead skin cells that just create oil on your fingers, removing all of that will help your nails to last a lot longer. So I'm starting by pushing my cuticle nail bed back, and then I'm going to go in with these little nippers and just clean up around my cuticle. This is one of my favorite steps because it's so satisfying. However, it is so dangerous. So please be very careful when you are clipping around your cuticle. If you're afraid, just don't do it. Make sure you clean up underneath your nail as well. We want to start with a beautiful clean canvas. Next, you're going to take your nail file, and I'm going to be using the 100 grit because I just recently did this on my nails, and you do not want to over file your nails. This is what causes your nails to get very thin and causes them to break. So be gentle. Make sure you are being aware of how much you are filing because at the end of the day, we want our nails to still be healthy. Now I'm just going to even out the end of my nail. As we are putting the finishing touches on prepping our nail, let's talk about how we are going to size our press-ons for our natural nail. If you are just using the glue, you would rather have a nail that is going to fit perfect wall to wall, no gaps whatsoever, similar to that nail. However, since we are going to be putting product between this fake nail and our nail, we want it to have a little bit of space so that way our acrylic has enough room to adhere completely between the fake nail and our nail. If you have nail primer or dehydrator or even alcohol, this is where you would use that. I spilled mine. Acetone is perfectly fine. All you want to do is make sure that you are dehydrating your nail, like dry it out. Get all of that extra soap or lotions or whatever is left on your fingers. Get that off, and acetone will do that for you. Next thing we're going to do is grab our brush glue and our clear acrylic powder. Once again, I recommend the brush glue because you just have more control over where your glue is placed versus using the glue that comes with the nail. So I'm applying this glue about halfway, pretty much just exactly where I know my natural nail is going to be covered. I'm making a mess, but that's okay. So next I'm also going to brush this nail glue onto my natural nail as well. Immediately after you brush your glue onto the back of your fake nail, go ahead and dip it in that clear powder. Now you want to place this nail starting at the cuticle. Do not let any other part of that fake nail touch your nail, your real nail, until you have placed down the cuticle portion. This is really important to avoid little air pockets or bubbles from popping up down around the sides and the bottom portion of your cuticle bed. You just want to press it down for a few seconds and your nail is perfectly adhered. See, this is where I'm showing you where I messed up because I kind of just placed it down. But look, you live and you learn. You'll get better. You might mess up a couple times, but honey, even with the mess ups, your nails are still going to last. Okay? So fret not. This is beginner friendly. This next part is a personal preference. For me, these nails are a bit too thin. And what I have noticed is that although my nail part will be adhered, they will crack across right there. And we don't want those problems. So to help that to not happen, I just brush a bit of glue on the underside of my nail, dip it in the powder, and rewind, repeat. So I tap that powder off, brush the glue on again, and then I dip it again. Next time, I may do a coat of um a coat of what is it called? Gel. The what's it called? I might do a coat of that in between next time and see if that is better. So anyway, moving on to the next hand. This is the second method where we're going to use an acrylic bead to adhere our nails. I forgot to mention in the beginning, but you need a little container to put your acrylic liquid in. So once again, we are going to clean up that nail bed, clean up that nail real nice, and remove as much of that extra deadness that you want. Look at how satisfying that is. And you could tell that I'm left-handed because it's so much easier for me right now. Or maybe you guys couldn't tell, but I could tell because I was definitely struggling before. Don't go too far down. You don't want to set yourself up, okay? But just clean it up, make it look nice. If you can't do this, don't worry about it. Just make sure you push it back and that you're filing down there at the base of your nail. I'm going back in with my nail file. If you have an electric nail drill, you can use that as well. I honestly have no idea where mine is. If I did, I would probably scuff the inner side of the fake nail before applying the acrylic as well. So far, I haven't really noticed a difference. So for this part, you're going to dip your brush into your acrylic liquid, wipe off the back side, and the side where you did not wipe, you're just going to grab a little bead. It does not require much, and too much will cause it to spill out a lot. So now I'm just patting it down a little bit. That is my baby doing extra stuff. You have a little bit of time before this dries, so don't worry too much. Same method. You want to start at the very edge of the cuticle and lay it down from back to front to avoid those bubbles, just like we discussed earlier. And if you notice, I did not flatten that bead up all the way, but because of how I laid my nail, the acrylic spread out evenly. That's what we want. And here I'm just taking some of that acrylic liquid and making sure that I don't have an acrylic mess. And if you do not have an electric file, this is probably the best way to clean that up. Once again, I'm going to brush on some glue on the underside of my fake nail and dip it into my clear acrylic powder again twice, just to build that nail up to help prevent them from cracking, because these nails are, we won't say cheap, we'll say affordable yet glamorous. Love them. I am going to take my nail file, clean up along the sides. Surprisingly, I did pretty well, so I don't have that much to clean up. I love a nice sharp square shaped nail. Give me a coffin, give me square, whatever. I like for my corners to be nice and sharp. So I'm just going to take my 180 grit and clean that up. This is optional. My preference is to put a gel top coat on top of these nails because they are going to last so long. I have found that when I do this method with my fake nails, they last longer than the paint that's on top. So I like doing the gel top coat to keep the paint on the fake nails. Also, it just adds like an extra shine. And when you file the size of your nail, sometimes it could look a little gritty, and so you want to clean that up with that UV gel. And now I just stick mine into my UV lamp for about 90 seconds. And I also make sure that I cure the underside with my UV lamp, so that way I don't have that ashy powder just sitting under there. And now it is going to look like you have a beautiful full set. Fancy, fancy. So these are two options. The first one is by far the easiest. The second one might be a little bit tricky because you have to use an acrylic bead, but both seem to last just as long as the other. So before you leave my channel, I hope you check out a couple more of my nail videos, and be sure to leave a comment, like and share this video, and most importantly, subscribe and turn on those notifications so that way next time I post another video, you will be one of the first to know. Bye bye.